This regular city council meeting on Monday, November 13th, 2023 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Lanyon.
Present.
Pratt.
Here.
Jenkins.
Here.
Van Allsburg.
Here.
Rhines.
Here.
Gilroy.
Here.
Hanson.
Yes.
And do I have approval for the agenda this evening as submitted, or are there changes that need to be made?
Move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you so much. Do I have support?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have an opportunity now for audience participation with a maximum of 5 minutes per presentation. Is there anyone that would like to come forward at this time? All right, moving along, we have our council meeting minutes of October 23rd, 2023. I'm looking for a motion to approve unless there were any changes that needed to be made.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you so much. Do I have
Second.
support? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have accounts payable. Brandon, did you have an opportunity to review?
I did. Pretty standard stuff. We have some bond payments. We have lots of tax disbursements, which make up the majority of it. There was a note from the treasurer that one of the disbursements to Ingham County was incorrect, but they're just going to adjust that on the next pay through. So nothing that needs to get corrected right now. So with that, I would make a motion to approve checks 77098 through 77148, ACH 596 through 624, and EFT 607 for a grand total of $382,479.49.
Great, thank you so much, Brandon. Did anyone have any questions regarding, yes, Steve?
The $13,020 payment for upgrade, I'm sorry.
Implementation
For
BSA
our,
software?
our city software that does like the tax and utilities, you can go online and pay through there.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, just to
Thanks,
clarify,
John.
I mean, we did talk about this in strategic planning and then did budget for it. It's our merger for VSA to the cloud,
Yep.
and it's one of the first steps in that.
Yep.
So it is in the budget for this year.
Great.
That has nothing to do with the upgrading of our website, though.
No, totally separate.
All right, any other questions regarding our financials for this evening? If not, I'm looking for support of Brandon's motion.
Second.
All right, thank you. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Van Allsburg.
Yes.
Rhines.
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes.
Lanyon.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Pratt.
Yes.
Jenkins.
Yes,
All right. Moving along, we have 3 action items for this evening. The first is the ASME contract approval. I'll go ahead and turn this over to our city manager, John Hannafin.
Thank you. We've been working on this for a few months now, so I'm pleased to bring this back to you. The local did approve the contract is submitted, and there's a little bit of delay, but they certainly wanted to make sure when they got the clean copy that everything was included that we had tentatively agreed to. So union has agreed to it. In the memo, I just did go over some of the major economic changes which we talked about previously. So happy to answer any questions you may have, but the motion is to approve the ASME contract with the effective dates of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2026. And I know this is maybe a departure from years past where the entire contract isn't included, but that is a public document, and I think it's important for transparency that we include that. And I get the machinations before where you were in closed session and then you'd come out of closed session and take the action, but moving forward, when we do collective bargaining, the entire agreement will be presented, so folks understand what we're approving or not.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Any questions for John regarding this? I mean, we've been through this in a couple of our council meetings, but Scott, yes?
Yeah, wage reopeners with increases equivalent to non-employees. I don't know what that means.
So when we review salaries for non-union, the city manager here historically has presented a wage increase of some level, anywhere from 0%, which is not an increase, but it's at least a wage maintainer, up to 3 to 4 to 5%. So in the coming years, for this particular union, and I think it's the same with the police department union, that there's parity among or equality among the groups. So, the wage reopener would be just that, rather than agreeing to a percent for this, only this union, for the next 2 years, everyone will be about the same. So that's what it means.
What, the way it was explained to me, when we first was, they called it a Me Too clause. So basically, we approve the wage increase for the first year of this contract, and then for the next 2 years, they're willing to take whatever the non-union city staff
Okay.
takes as a wage
Okay,
increase.
got it.
Thanks for
Thank
that, John and Dan, and thanks for that question, Scott, I appreciate it.
I got one quick one.
Yes, go ahead,
My
Tom.
only question would just be for Tim. I started to breeze through this, but there was lots of pages and lots of language I didn't understand. Did you breeze through this and did it look legit? Any concerns?
Run this by Matt.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
so Matt Norsford
Yeah.
at Mr. Perone's office is the one who does our labor reviews. And so his office did provide the clean contract, but how it works is the city agrees, the union agrees, and then there is that last, approved as the form for the labor attorney. And if you look at the very last page, there's like that stamp on the bottom from their office. So they will get a final look and final approval before it becomes official.
Matt Nordsford's been doing our labor contract review for as long as I've been sitting here, so, and probably longer than that, right, Tim? Matt's been doing it for quite a while.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and he definitely, makes sure all the i's and t's are dotted and crossed. All right, so we do have that motion, suggested motion, which city manager did recommend, and it is on our memo, so I'm looking for that, please.
Make a motion to approve the agreement with AFSCME, effective dates January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2026.
Thank you so much. Do I have support?
Second.
Thank you so much. If there's no further discussion, I'll ask Holly to call the roll, please.
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Lanyon,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes.
Van Allsburg.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Thank you. Our next one is our North Putnam Street MDOT contract amendment resolution, and I'll turn this right back over to our city manager, Don Yankovic.
Thank you. This is somewhat of a file maintenance item, and what this is, it's the formal amendment to our contract for the North Putnam project. Even though MDOT is, they're not a major funder, but they're a significant funder of that project, right around $400,000. And so in order to split the project in two, we had to approve this amendment. So this is a file maintenance thing. Frankly, it should have been done some time ago, but here's in front of you. It doesn't change how the project's gonna move forward. We have, Iron Horse under contract for the work that's going on now. We have a low bid that MDOT accepted for the paving portion that'll take place next spring. So this is just the formal resolution that needs to list the amendment to contract 235061, which is our contract with MDOT.
All right, great. Any questions for John? All right, there is a recommended resolution in the memo that has been provided, if somebody would like to make that.
I'd move to amend contract 235061 and authorize Mayor Gilroy and Clerk Thompson to sign on behalf of the city of Williamston.
All right. Do we need to read the whole entire thing above that line, Tim, or just that?
No, I think that would be fine. The
right.
amendment is attached.
All right, great, thank you so much. Do I have support for this?
Second.
All right, thank you both. If there's no further discussion, Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Gilroy,
Yes.
Lanyon,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes?
Van Allsburg,
Yes.
Rhines.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, our last action item of the evening is Department of Public Works Staffing Plan. Turning this back over to John Hannafin, our city manager.
Thank you. So as discussed, we have the need to do a little bit of reorganization in the Department of Public Works. I think there's never one right perfect time to make change, but I think this is a good time to, think about our staffing and really the needs of the city current and moving forward. So try to lay it out for you there. We do have a GIS specialist position, which I will tell you in a community our size is about as rare as a winged unicorn. So that position we're not going to fill. We have the GIS capabilities, we have that functionality. Those are typically picked up if there's a need for that. I mean, basically that machine's already been built, and so it's just utilizing the tool and every once in a while,
Right.
crafting it. So we're gonna hold that position vacant. For engineering and utilities, and we did have a, kind of a combo position of the engineer and director of public works. That was a combined position. Also a rare combination in a city our size. Typically, those jobs are split, and it's atypical for a community our size to have a full-time engineer on staff. It's not anything on Scott. He did a good job for the work that was in front of him. So this comes at a good opportunity for us to sort of split that job back where I think it should be, and to hire an operations supervisor in public works. That is a non-union position. It's a significantly less salary than the old position, so with that said, I think we'll be able to get a lot of good candidates for that. And then as far as engineering, again, I've worked in communities about this size for about 18 years previously, and have been involved in the day-to-day project management as much as necessary. And in particular with the projects that we have now with North Putnam, and I'm report fully on that later, but that is wrapping up for this phase. We do have Spicer on board for construction administration and observation, and that's exactly how it sounds. They deal with any change orders or field adjustments, and then they do have somebody on staff to monitor the construction activities, and those are all part of their contract. And so I've established a rather regular rhythm with Spicer to meet with them and their senior staff and project level staff as necessary for North Putnam. And then Williamston Lloyd, I mean, they're not overly complicated projects, so there's a lot going on, but there's nothing beyond, if we don't have anybody else beyond to assist me with that would be the operations supervisor. Even if we don't, which I think we will, fully capable of managing consultants, managing street projects, so.
All right.
And then just briefly with the plants, wastewater staffing is fine, you've got plenty of licenses, there's really no change there. Scott was, the department director, but he was not the operator in charge for wastewater. Scott was listed as the operator in charge for the water plant, but the staffing is virtually the same. The only difference is Matt Akers will be, he does have the necessary license to be the operator in charge, but the daily activities are still performed by others than Scott. I mean, again, Scott did a good job, but he wasn't, he didn't turn a wrench and he didn't take a sample. He could if necessary, but he didn't do those things. So I'm confident with our plans that we're adequately staffed, and, adding the DPW supervisor will really round out the roster for the foreseeable future.
All right, great. Yes, Steve?
Are you bringing this to us for information purposes? I see there's a motion there, but in the day-to-day, is that something that we would get involved in, identifying the different classifications and the different positions?
It's not, but I think in fairness to all of you, since the city has operated for so long, in the model that we're moving away from, that I thought it was important for all of you to have it in front of you and make the decision on that. And if I didn't think it was the right thing, I wouldn't bring it here.
Right.
So.
And, I mean, employment is managed by the city manager. The city manager reports up to us, so the department heads report up to him. I think because there's a significant change happening, I think this is good to be transparent about how we are restructuring DPW, because it's important, and everybody there, all of our staff is valuable, and I know that in my conversations with John over the past couple weeks, he's going to take a very active role in getting that DPW to a point where when we do have that new operations supervisor comes in, there's going to be processes in place for daily work and all of that. And so this is a good thing, and like he said, nothing to diminish Scott's as our DPW manager, director, for as many years as he was there, but I see this as a good positive movement forward. Yes,
And I
Tim?
believe it indicates that you may expect to get some engineering contracts.
Yeah,
I got a question.
Those are-
yes. So I'll start with Tom, then I'll go to Terry.
So mine might not be directly related, but it's kind of loosely related. We had been like kind of right in the trenches of this wastewater treatment plant, which was kind of Scott's baby. So I guess my only question now is that, with Scott leaving and, us replacing and putting, are we gonna, how are our plans to continue that conversation with the wastewater treatment plant? Or
For the master
who picks
plan
up that
work?
ball, yeah?
Or the lift station.
Right.
Yeah, some of that was kind of Scott's you know.
So, you've been talking about those issues probably for as long as any of you can remember. And that's frankly, you know, without going into too much detail, that's part of the issue. You've had several projects that predate me by 3 to 4 to 10 years that haven't been addressed. So for whatever reason, they haven't been. Just to give you a little bit of example, and we can only draw on our own experience. When I went to Chelsea, Chelsea was being sued and had to build a brand new wastewater plant. We're not getting sued, that's the good news. Do we have to build a brand new wastewater plant? We don't, but I've gone through this before. And ultimately, well, Scott might have, you know, shepherded the process to this point. He was not ultimately gonna design or manage that project.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And-
and along with the lift stations, those lift stations were, again, on the bid queue for many years, and they've been designed for many years, and we received bids, and we had budgeted $350 for Zimmer and mechanic combined, and the bids that came back were about $800,000.
Yep, yep.
So,
And
we have to change our trajectory on some of the things we're doing, and I have complete confidence in myself to, it's not me designing the wastewater plant, it's not what I do, but I've been involved in many construction projects, so.
Terry,
So I just, summary, it was that Spicer reported to Scott, reported to you. That was the old system. New system, Spicer reports to you. Is
That's
that an
correct.
accurate summary
That
there?
is correct.
Okay, good.
yes, I'll go to Dan, then Scott, then Brandon, because that's how the hands came up.
So with, to me, in a nutshell with all this, we're taking, we're no longer going to have the city engineer position, and we're having a cost savings in salary there, a cost savings with the GIS specialist. That will be what we're using to pay the contracted engineers when we have to bring that in. And my guess is, depending on the size of the project, that's probably still a net positive most of the time.
Yep, yes, John.
If you look at it from the standpoint that the construction, the total construction administration, bidding and observation contract for Spicer for the $3 million, the Slotkin money as we call it, and North Putnam, that's between $450,000 and $500,000, which it seems like a lot, but on percent construction, it's in the wheelhouse where it should be. So we're just not paying for on-staff engineers.
Right.
That's the part that we're not paying. And then if we need additional consulting, it won't be the tune of, you know, $60,000 to $70,000 to $100,000 in additional consulting. We're talking, it'll be more like, for example, the attorney fees, like something more on the tune of, you know, $30,000 to $60,000 per year, depending on the level of activity.
Yep.
With an eye on trying to minimize that as much as possible, but making sure that we have adequate coverage and adequate resources.
Right, correct. Scott?
Yeah, so this is what I remember about the Scott situation, was that he was working for C2AE.
Yeah.
And something had happened that affected employment, and Tim Allard was the city manager at the time, and was very impressed with the work Scott had done for the city, and so he created the position in a unique way, so Scott would be an employee here. What I'm wondering about is if you know, do you know if before that happened, if we were the same as we're going back to now?
Oh, boy, that's a Holly question, probably.
'Cause I bet we were.
Holly is our
Historical
local
question.
historian here.
That's what it sounds like,
yeah.
it would be.
So we're going back to how it was before?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at any rate, that's how that came about, and we were enthused about Tim Allard's creativity and his
Sure.
way to solve problems, and,
And I think it
We
definitely
went- we
benefited
went
us
for
for
it,
as
so
many
yeah.
years as it did, and, so, you know,
yeah.
Brandon,
Mine's relatively simple. We've been funding, or not funding, because we haven't had anybody, but we've been putting it into the budget that we were gonna have as GIS specialist for years now. Obviously, we're in the middle of a budget cycle, so we're not gonna do that now, but I'm assuming as we go forward, we're just gonna cut this position out entirely.
That's correct.
Okay.
yes, Terry.
I'm worried about the lift station things, especially with the water seeping in the system and all that. Do you have a plan, and it seems to me kind of funny that it's gone on for so many years, it keeps on going, you know? Do you have a plan for when we're gonna get those guys fixed?
Well, we're gonna
What's
start,
your,
yeah, through the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
So we're gonna start, we've already started on
Mhm.
dissecting the current design and the bid packs and the way the project was bid out, much like we did with the North Putnam project.
Yeah.
So, again, when those things need to be addressed and they need to be done, but it's still, it begs the question for me, why weren't they?
Right. Yep, and that's a very fair assessment on your part. I think that we did as much as we could to maintain, fix without replacing brand new, but, as Dan can attest to, because he's been sitting here at this table, for a while, we're to the point where, yes, that stuff should have been taken care of.
And something with, Terry brought up, I can't remember the fancy word for it, with water infiltration into the system. A lot of that is getting addressed through like the Putnam Street project and the Lloyd Street project, and the one where you're replacing a lot of
Those
those
backflows.
oldest sections of water main and sewer, so there's not as much stress on the rest of the system because you're replacing those oldest. It doesn't mean that those lift stations don't still need to be replaced,
Yeah.
but there's not as much pressure and.
Just a lift station within the floodplain, that kind of.
Right.
Well,
Sure.
that actually got elevated, and we got all the electronics out of the floodplain,
Yep, what was that,
like
2
3
years ago?
years
Yeah,
ago.
you can see there's a step ladder that goes up to it and all
Yeah.
that.
So, but there's another piece that's where it's gonna cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the floodplain issue was addressed a couple
Yeah.
of years ago.
Okay, good.
All very, very good questions, and thank you, John, for taking the time to answer all of those. Any other questions before I ask for this motion? All right, I'm looking for the suggested motion that was included on the memo from our city manager.
I'll make a motion to approve the staffing plan for the Department of Public Works and advertise for DPW operations supervisor.
Thank you so
Support.
much, and thank you for that. One thing I guess kind of did get missed in this, and I'm just gonna ask this before I ask for the roll. What is your anticipation of how long you think this is gonna take? When we advertise for that operations supervisor, what would you like that window of time to look like, John?
So the only challenge is it's where we're at the calendar year,
Yep.
that we have the holidays, and sometimes folks are a little hesitant to apply for a job
Sure.
around the holidays because there's the instant pay that comes with that.
Yep.
That said, we're gonna open the application process. We've had a couple of people, just the way word travels, that have cold called the city, or not so called, because somebody told them.
Right.
So I would anticipate we would have somebody, shortly after the new calendar year.
Sure, okay.
But with the caveat that we're not gonna hire just anybody, we're gonna hire somebody who's at least good.
Yep,
Hopefully
absolutely,
great, but at least
absolutely.
good. That's
I'm in favor of
it.
that.
And
Take what comes you need.
And we'll get updates regarding this, during our city manager, department report, so I have full confidence that this will go forward, without any issues or concerns. With that being said, we did have a motion, we did have the second. Holly, will you call the roll, please?
Lanyon,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Jenkins,
Yes,
Van Osberg,
Yes,
Rhines,
Yes.
Gilroy.
Yes. All right, moving along to our discussion items, the update for the road diet.
Yeah, thank you. So I did report in my manager report a week ago Monday that MDOT made it aware that this project has been selected for federal funding through their process, which is good. We'll have some cost share. They haven't identified how much yet. They are still trying to decide if they need to hold another public meeting. They're trying to figure that out, and that's certainly their purview. And the last thing that I pressed them on a little bit, we're in the transportation improvement plan from basically 2024 through 2026. I think we would all prefer a 2024 construction date. And I think they're on board with that, but until that part's final, it's not final. So I'll just keep you updated as we move through the process. So that's the latest and greatest with the road diet.
Okay, great, thanks, and moving on to construction project update.
Yeah, they're making, Iron Horse making great progress on North Putnam. They're working on water services this week. I mean, we really roll the dice, and I hope to never have to do that again, but we've been blessed with such great weather this fall for construction. There is paving all the way up to Church Street now, so that's good, and they fully expect wrap up in plenty of time. And as soon as that we get a whiff of paving, we'll let you know. But no pun intended there. If you like the smell of it, smells like victory when you're in our line of work. So that's the update on that. And as I said, I've got a regular cadence established with Spicer now, and now that we're wrapping up Iron Horse's work on North Putnam, we'll start developing the schedules for Williamston, Lloyd, and then the public outreach that goes along with that.
Excellent. All right, moving along.
One last
Oh,
thing,
yes,
sorry.
Yes, okay.
It's not a road, but if you made it over to McCormick anytime after, like 11 o'clock today, there's a pretty significant change. The older pavilion was removed today substantially, and Laux is on site, and they expect that project to go really quick. So again, we're blessed with good weather, so yeah, it's good progress on that.
Awesome, that'd be great. Yes, Steve?
Are they keeping the cement that they had in there, or are they replacing that?
They're taking that out.
They are taking it
Yeah.
out.
Because the footprint's just a tad
It's a
bit
little
bigger,
wider,
like the current
That's right.
pavilion.
Yeah.
And that pavilion is going to match the other, so we're gonna
Absolutely.
have matching pavilions.
That's right.
Which is fantastic. All right. Correspondence received, we did receive the Williamston Museum newsletter, so if you have an opportunity to take a look at that, there's always something really cool and exciting going on at the museum. If anybody follows their Facebook page, they continually post pictures from the past and ask for community input to help determine who's in the pictures or what the activity was, so that's always kind of fun. Department head reports, go back over here to John for yours. I know you gave us the memo, but for our viewing community.
Yeah, I guess I'll just talk about what we have coming up. We have next week, well, actually going on right now, Bob Ford from LAP and Earl Wolf are presenting to the county grants, County Parks and Rec Committee about our two grants, one for the Memorial NFL Trail and then also for the river clearing project. So they're over there doing that. So I hope that goes well. I was gonna go, but there was a 11-item agenda. It's 10 items, 10 minutes per each, and because we're Williamston with a W and not with an A, we would have been dead last. So we're probably going on right now. So that's happening, and then Ham Lake Farms is gonna be taking the rest of the hay bales if you haven't got one for yourself already. But I was really happy with how that project worked.
Yeah.
Expect that to be part of the regular
Absolutely.
decor in downtown, so I was pretty excited about that. And then we'll move right into the Christmas season, and our Public Works has the work order already to start adding our downtown festive stuff, so that'll
Excellent.
be pretty cool too.
Awesome, great, thank you so much. Chief, you're here, thank you. What is your report for us?
Welcome. I just got a few things. First, I'd like to introduce Officer Tryon Calkins.
Hello, how are you?
Tryon initially started part-time with us. He started full-time last week. He's on night shift right now. Tryon comes with a lot of training experience from the sheriff's office. So I'm very glad to have him as a full-time officer, and I think the city will bid well with him being here. So welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Sarah Sadler is a recruit in the training academy at Washtenaw County right now. She's in week number 2 with an anticipated graduation date of March 22nd of 2024. Then Marcus Madrano will start at the Mid-Michigan Police Academy January 3rd, 2024 with anticipated graduation date of May 3rd, 2024. At that time, we'll be back up to full strength.
Excellent, great.
So we're looking forward to that. Other than that, everything's going great.
Fantastic, excellent. That is so good to hear, and you really hit the ground running with this. I can't thank you enough, and I'm sure my council members and our community as well thanks you. So we appreciate that. Look forward to meeting. Well, I think I met Sarah. She was on the reserves, wasn't she? Was she doing ride along?
She was not, but she's done some right along.
Okay, all right, great. And so that's going to bring you up to how many full staff, and do you feel that you have a need for part-time after that?
That will bring us up to 6 full-time. We currently also, Mike Graham came in as a part-time officer, again with a lot of training experience from the sheriff's office and other departments before the sheriff's office. He started part-time this last week,
Okay.
so he's up and running. So that will give us 6 full-time, 1 part-time.
All right.
And then we'll look at the need for possibly another part-time
Okay.
officer for vacation, sick time, training, and whatnot. But
Excellent.
I'll be just pleased as punch to have 6 full-time.
Excellent, great, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Terry?
I am the new guy around here, but as long as I've been on council, we've needed to recruit new police people. And all of a sudden, you showed up, and all of a sudden, it's taken care of.
Well,
Wow,
I appreciate the confidence, and I hope I can keep that going.
okay.
Excellent.
I'm confident we will.
All right, we did, there are financials included in our packet. If you do have questions, please reach out to either our city manager, John Hannafin, or our city treasurer to get those questions answered. We did also receive our report from Livingston County Building Department. They help us out with our permitting when people are doing any type of improvements or additions or whatever the case may be. If you do have questions regarding something that you see on the report from Livingston County, please reach out to our city manager. Again, he can get those questions answered for you. Moving along, we have our subcommittee committee reports. Anybody have a meeting that they attended that they would like to share? Yes, Tom?
We had a NISA meeting last week. It was pretty lengthy because it was going with the proposed 24 budget. So that's a pretty large budget to sift through, but we made it. There'll be a public meeting in December, so
All right.
I would encourage people to attend.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Other meetings that were attended?
Parks
Yes,
and Rec,
Terry?
we do all the fun stuff.
Yes, you do.
But
Yes, you do.
As in, I'm finding this out, local government is all about the funding, right? So
Yes.
we've got this plan in place, this 120-page plan that's gonna be, the state's gonna look at that and say, oh, this is so good, and there will be funding, which is
Excellent.
really cool. And there was a PBS guy with a camera running around, taking pictures and doing video, stuff like that with Kent.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've seen the PBS, Detroit One PBS or
Yes.
something like that. There's a quick thing in there about PTSD and so forth. And this little park thing is part of that thing from PBS. So very encouraging, very fun.
Yep, Ken definitely has a passion for that, and we're so thankful that he's a part of our community and can help to make that park a reality.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
thank you. Anybody else have a meeting? All right. Just to kind of give you guys an update, DDA, we've had our meetings, we're still working on marketing plan for the downtown area. John can add in if he needs to, but we are, I think our DDA is fully staffed now. Lee Baumgers from the pub is going to be joining the DDA group. There's so many amazing creative people on DDA, so there's going to be good things coming in the future from DDA. Audience participation again with a maximum of 5 minutes per presentation. Anybody want to come forward? All right. Moving along, we've got council member comments. I will start with Steve tonight.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, if it's a non-agenda item, like,
Wondering, Holly, sometime back, you were looking at getting perhaps a grant for a new wood carving opportunity.
you mean for in the park, from McCormick
Yeah.
Park?
We didn't get it.
Okay, well, thanks for the update. Thanks for the question.
That was a while ago, but.
Appreciate it. Yeah, all right. Terry?
No comment.
All right, Tom?
Nothing for me.
All right, Brandon?
Nothing.
Scott?
Yeah, so this came into my brain. So
Okay.
I was here when we sold the community center,
Yes, you are.
and I will tell you that I can't remember why. But the thought occurred to me that it was a bad idea to say that, but I did it anyways. And so, but the thought occurred to me, and I haven't researched this stuff, but the thought came into my head earlier today, whether it was a significant idea for communities to have a space that they own, that they can use for meetings, et cetera, which we don't have. And so I thought I'd throw that out and see what you guys think about over time, and whether we want
Sure.
to do that, or whether it makes sense.
All right, great, thank you
Yeah,
for that.
yeah.
Can we use eminent domain for that?
Dan,
Let's calm down
I'm
a
just gonna
little
move
bit.
right down to Dan. Dan, any
We
comments?
can talk about
As a
that
lawyer
later.
present, we should know, yeah? The answer is no.
comment,
All right. Well, we all experienced time change a couple weeks ago, and so it is darker earlier. We are still doing leaf cleanup and pickup, approximately how much longer, John, what do you think?
So we're gonna go through this week.
Okay.
Hopefully they're all down. I mean,
Okay.
there's still some stubborn, I've been out there on the streets looking, there's some
Sure.
trees that are hanging on, so
Yep.
God bless them. But,
Okay,
well, as long as the weather's reasonably good, but really,
Sure.
we hope by this week and maybe a handful next week.
all right, great. So for our community members out there, you've heard it straight from us. About another week, possibly a little bit longer for leaf cleanup, pickup, and then we're gonna switch gears and get ready for, pure Michigan, because we never know when, the snow is going to fall, but we definitely wanna make sure that, we're prepared. No parking on city streets from 2 to 5 a.m. Chief, I think, you've done your friendly warnings through, October, correct?
We have,
All right, excellent. So, just remember that, please, because that does give our DPW, opportunity to get out there if we do experience significant snowfall. We certainly appreciate our community working with us on that. Our downtown was beautiful, but I am so highly anticipating, our annual light parade. It's always exciting as we get an inch closer to Christmas. We do have Thanksgiving coming up in a short 2 weeks. That is Shop Small on that following Saturday. I would so highly encourage our residents to patronize our downtown businesses because we do have such a diverse downtown business district. That is it for my comments, and so I just would say let's go ahead and adjourn and at 7:41 according to my laptop.